Okay.
Very good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So everybody, welcome Florence Club, or Rotary Club of Florence, to our weekly meeting. Julie Kyle, current president of the club, if you don't know who I am. We're going to go ahead and get started. Don? You 7, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with joyful hearts and thanksgiving. As yesterday, we were reminded of the greatest gift ever given. We praise you and honor you and thank you. And we ask that we don't let these type of observances go to pagan type of rituals. Lord, thank you for all the blessings that you bestow on us. Thank you for bringing us together as a club. Thank you for guiding us with the things we can do to make our community better and our world better. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
And the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is the truth.
Second,
Is fair to all concerned.
Third,
Will build goodwill and better friendships.
fourth.
Will be beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Sean?
Great job, Mike. We have guests today. We have Mr. David Cooper. David, could you stand and tell us what you do, sir?
Yes, I'm really glad to be here. I saw all of Cady's posts online and I wanted to be here. I'm a young guy, so obviously I use the internet and I'm versed in that. Master's in accounting and cybersecurity from Indiana University in Bloomington, so a few miles away from here. But then I went to Ivy Tech to teach. So I teach at Ivy Tech Community College. I also work as a research consultant. So I help different organizations giving coaching and advice. So when Cady posted online that she would get Rotary, I've been to several Rotary events in the past. I really wanted to attend.
Great.
Good.
Welcome. Yeah. Thanks for bringing him in. That's awesome. Way to go. It was great that you do that cybersecurity and all that technology stuff. Because, this weekend I was watching the 10 Commandments. They had these big stone tablets.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, what a great way to remember what you're supposed to do. Stone tablets.
Well, the thing is now we're basically saying we need a paper trail for everything. So they want to have a locked-in paper just to support all the information online. And they've been moving away from a paper-based society, but for a lot of things, you still have to have a paper copy because if the computer goes down, you're not sure who's supposed to back everything up.
I'm with you, brother. I'm really with you on that stuff. I'm telling you, I'm in the cloud more than you know. All right, this weekend we had a big weekend. We had opening day, and that went well. Saturday didn't go so well. That was we were winning, and then we lost. And Sunday was there was some immaculate stuff already happening on Sunday, as we all know.
Resurrection.
There we go. So the Reds came back from the dead as well in the bottom of the ninth. They won that game, and they're 2-1. They're off to Philly in the rain. And what a great, beautiful Easter weekend. We were supposed to get the rain and all that stuff, and it held off. Gorgeous, gorgeous weekend. And we give thanks to all. We know what a beautiful Easter weekend it was. And we also know that, so I got to watch the 10 Commandments again. I've almost got that down. It's kind of important.
You're on number 6?
Yeah. I'm not in that cover your wife thing. I'm never sure about that one. But that's yeah.
Thank you, John.
Then we got and then my favorite Sidney Poitier movie. I always have to watch Lilies of the Field, and he rose on Easter. We always had to watch that one. Yeah, that one you need to watch. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thanks, John. It's senior exit interview time. I had sent an email for all the different ones. I'll send another one out. I attended Cooper's last week. I'm doing Ryle this week, and I think in County High School after Easter break. So I'll send another email out with all the signups. So if you want to do that, it's always a good time. Out and about, actually, right there, I ran into one of our former citizens of the year, Paula McPeak. She was doing senior exit reviews. We were doing those at the same time. I saw Pat and Barb were doing some stuff with the Boone County Garden Club. And then this past week, I tried to go and visit clubs when I'm out and about. And I was in Delaware. I was speaking to the Phillies. I'm flying in and out of Philadelphia airport a lot. And attended a Newburgh morning club meeting, which happens to be in the same hotel that I stay in Newburgh. Met some great people, did a banner exchange. This guy here, his name is Ed Gossett. He actually, I met him a couple of weeks prior at a parent camp that I did at one of the schools. His child attends one of the schools we do parent camps at. So it was cool to run into him again. They were packing bags for an Easter Seals camp for the counselors. It was items for the counselors, to get them started for the year. So I got to participate in that. The other thing that club does, and I'm going to share this with the board, is they do an annual magazine. It's like a report to their community. Super nice piece. They have a club member that produces this. They make $40,000 to $50,000 off of this every year.
Wow. Well,
Through the advertisements. So, and it's a great PR marketing piece. So that's why I brought that back. And right here, Pat sent me this picture. Him and Patty were reviewing Teacher of the Year applications. And that leads into we have our Teachers of the Year for this year, which I think we celebrate this April 22nd. And for that meeting, we will actually be back at the Florence Nature Center in the big building because that's a large crowd. And I don't think we could handle that here. So we have.
We were having a working lunch at the bar out back.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yes. So if you notice the last name of one of our recipients, that's actually Ian's wife, Emily, at St. Paul's, is one of the recipients this year. Nick Myler from Mount Verona Middle, and then they had a tie on the high school. So 2 teachers from high school, Heather and Tasha. So hopefully you can come on April 22nd to celebrate them. And this year, we are sending a student to RILA. First time, and I don't know if we ever have, not since I've been here. The foundation agreed to use some of the scholarship funds because we have some extra in there to send a student to RILA this year. So it'll be Evelyn Boissard from Connor Middle School. And then April 29th, we have our open house. So please encourage people to come and visit the club. All the teams will have their poster boards, which the team 3, thanks to Will, has their board ready as a sample. I think Michelle's working on team 4. But we'll have finger foods that day. Invite people to come. We'll be, just people visiting each of the different teams to learn about what Rotary is about. So I hope you join us on the 29th. Upcoming events, we have Cards for a Cause, Euchre Royale at my house on the April 30th. Clay shoots, Maker Expo. We've got a couple of people signed up to share information. Serve and Socialize Fair is at the library, and then the Boone County Fair. You can sign up for any of our things coming up on this form, which lists all of our volunteer opportunities. Those are on your tables. Save the Date District, Saturday, May 18th. I think registrations have come out for that. I know they're taking hotel reservations.
It came out this week, yeah.
Yeah, I think that came out. I think we have submitted our club for the 5-star club award. I believe we met the criteria. You had to do at least 15 activities. I think we met that. So they're doing the validation, verification stuff on that right now. So hopefully we'll receive at least one more award that night. Birthdays. We have Tim's birthday is tomorrow. Mark Lloyd, who's usually here, is not here today, on the 10th. Wayne is here. I saw Wayne. His is on the 11th. And then Pat Rafferty's on the 13th. And then we have some anniversaries. So, of course, we have our certificates. So Leon, if you come up, get your certificate. Yes, 35 years. Yeah. So come up and get the certificate. We're going to have Will, if he can jump, or somebody.
Actually, I'll have Teresa do it. Can you take
There
your
we go.
picture?
Teresa's going to take pictures for us.
Thanks.
Yeah, my neighbor, actually, our first
right.
house we moved here next to, close to town.
Yeah,
Down Bowling,
probably-
he took me to Rotary, and he was a recruiter, and so 3 months later, he's moved out, and it's, you know, but I've been here since he left.
There you go. That's a good story. And then Wayne has his anniversary, so come on up, Wayne. Wayne's been a member of Rotary since 1999. Yeah, 1999.
I don't feel that old.
Yeah. All right, so
Oh.
look over it. Get a
Oh,
picture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Matt is here, but we have one of our new members, Tiffany. Come on up, Tiffany. She's like, what? What? Come on up. That's funny. So Tiffany is an official member. She actually joined, it was January 22nd was your join date, but we never got to pin you. No. So we have her certificate of being a new member and her pin. Thank you. Nice. Okay. Got. Woo. So we had to catch her up. Oh, did Josh leave? Josh Quinn, did he leave?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, missed him. Okay.
Julie, I see you have a line there that says, on your birthday or anniversary, please consider making a donation of your age or years to whatever.
Yes.
So if you get a Leon and Wayne both, it'll be in great shape.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go
Thanks.
with that.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Gary. Yeah, what we do is just as a reminder to people to make donations if on your birthday, your anniversary, equivalent to your age or years in Rotary. You just make a choice of make a donation. So the Polio Plus Fund, the John and Connie Salyers Fund at Gateway, the Rotary Foundation. So thank you for that reminder. Okay. Happy dollars. I may have happy dollars. John.
I got several, Madam President. First of all, I only have $3. I want to say 4 things if you allow me to see.
I'll give you a buck again, John.
The lunches, since I've been back to the legislature, the lunches have been great here. I tell you what. Just
Well, thank you. It's wonderful.
It's all about the lunches. As most of you know, we just almost completed a legislative session. It's good to be back. I think everybody knows that I serve in the legislature. If you don't know that, I'm in my 16th year, and this was the best budget we've ever had in 16 years. Now, the reason for that is the source of much debate, so I won't get into that, but we have had more money in this budget than I can ever remember. And Northern Kentucky did very well. Northern Kentucky University did very well. I'm sure our honored guests will want to talk about that. But our airport also did very well, almost $20 million to the airport for development and future hangars, roads, and all kinds of wonderful stuff. We go back for 2 days, the 12th and the 15th, but those are just veto override days, so there won't be much legislation passed over those 2 days. And then some of you may not know our judge executive's been in the hospital with back surgery, but he's out now. I talked to him this morning, Gary Moore, also a Rotary member. He's doing very well. He sounded great this morning, so we have to wish him well. And I think that covers it. Thank you, Madam President.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Once President Cady gets started, I'll grab a card for Gary and we'll send it around so we can send
Oh, the
get
other thing, I know I was forgetting something is You all did a great job with the Rotary tour in Frankfurt. Don and Gary Whithoff, that's always a highlight when the Rotary comes down, and I think it went real well this year. It was great to have Rotary members in Frankfurt.
Yeah, it was a great day.
Can I just do a quick one?
Yep.
It's actually for you, and congratulations for you. Our president was nominated for a 2024 Outstanding Women Award.
Thank you very much. Any other happy notes? Okay, I actually have a list because I was gone. And I had to write down so I wouldn't forget them. I have 6 of them. First one to Michelle. Michelle has taken over Team 4 for membership. So thank you for Michelle for stepping up. Second one is for Jordan Dallas Turner and Matt Webster, who are heading up the scholarship review application process this year. They've revamped the process, so thank you to them. Third one, for Easter, my daughter was home, so it was nice having her home. Fourth one, last night at 10:30, I got my taxes done. Fifth one to the Teacher of the Year Committee and all the work that they do on that. And then the 6th one, I already talked about visiting the Delaware Club. Okay.
Cool.
I'm going to turn it over to Dwayne to introduce our guest.
I got to meet Cady at the 50th anniversary of the first class, not too long ago, and find out that one of our Rotarians was a member of that class, and that was Myra McAvoy. So it's interesting how small the community that we are involved with sometimes. Dr. Short, I've had the opportunity as a past regent to work with 3 of our past presidents, and you definitely stand on the shoulders of some great leadership within the community. Her background is 25 years in higher education. She did all of her undergraduate work at UC, so I won't go into that right now. But there is a college on this side of the river, just to let you know. So, but was provost of Hope College, dean of UC at Blue Ash, and she was an NKU professor for 14 years of communication. So please help me welcome and give a big Norse up to our new president.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to be here with all of you. So my name is Cady Short-Thompson, and I like to go by Cady, so feel free to call me that. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time here with you today sharing where we are as a university right now. We're 56 years old as an institution. And for many of you who have lived your lives in this region, you have seen it grow. I mean, it has grown considerably over the years. And for me, returning home to NKU has been a real treat as president. It had been 13 years since I had left it, and what a period of growth it has been through. New buildings, more programs, different kinds of modes of teaching, etc. So the place has changed quite a bit. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time just sharing where we are right now and where we're heading. So one thing I would just say is that for those of you who don't work and live in higher education, we are, and you can attest, living through a period of pretty significant change. So an ever-changing landscape. When you really think about, since COVID, we've really changed considerably how we teach, where we teach, what we teach, and it is just nonstop change. So if you talk with faculty members, you'll hear, you know, my world keeps changing, the pressures keep changing, the finances keep changing. And so the university's job is to adjust as quickly as we can to be what we need to be for you in the community and just for our learners. The demands have changed quite a bit. So one thing I will share with you is we've changed considerably in offering more online teaching, more hybrid teaching than we've ever had before. What we found in COVID, when everyone had to go online, is that there were certain populations who benefited from having that online experience. Not surprisingly, people who work full-time or people who are juggling families or aging parents. You find that those are really predominantly are more likely than not online students. And frankly, how we teach online has improved considerably over the years as well. So we're excited to have that opportunity because we know it leads to greater access to education if you have a multitude of modalities. Second thing I would say is that I'm really committed to making sure that we're agile in meeting workforce demands. So I will say, I've been in academics, again, 25 years, and over those 25 years, the world has changed a lot in terms of us thinking about ourselves differently in higher ed, being somewhat disconnected in some cases from the community and from businesses, us offering the degrees that we think need to be offered, and maybe sometimes being a little out of step with what the community businesses need. That's different now. It's really different now, not just for NKU, but just about everywhere. Everyone is a lot more mindful about what are our students going to do when they graduate. It may seem intuitive and obvious. We should have been thinking this all along. Sure, you're probably right, but here we are. We got there. Okay. What I'll also share with you is, as a local person, again, I've lived 50 of my years in this region. I'm really mindful of the region's needs and how to strengthen the region specifically. So just to be really clear, I'm invested in this place, and that means a lot of different things. It means making sure that I'm aligned with what business needs are in terms of hiring. I'm interested in working with faculty and students to solve community problems in our region. In other words, I am supported being a regional comprehensive university, which is, I think, important for you to know because it will guide our priorities as we go forward. So we are definitely changing. We're also growing and getting better at what we do. So one of the things I will say that we do very well is our primary day job, and that is we produce graduates at a pretty significant rate. NKU has gotten better at producing graduates in the last few years. We've gotten really good at student success. So a few numbers I would just share with you. These numbers aren't very big to you, so I'll make sure that you hear them. Is in December, we graduated about 1,900 students. Okay, that's a big day, right? And as president, I shake all their hands. So trust me, my hand felt it by the end of that day. It's funny, we have 2 ceremonies. In the first ceremony, I turned to my colleagues and I said, that's so great. I love this because the students are so happy as they cross the stage. I'm sure you know, I mean, there's such joy, such relief. And so I said to my colleague, I can do this all day. And they said, good thing, because you are. And so I had an afternoon full of it as well. So 1,900 in a day is a lot. And I will say, it's just joyful. It's a wonderful, wonderful day. It's the best day to be president. Last year, we graduated about 3,800 graduates. So just really doing a nice job of getting our students through our programs, educating them well, supporting them well, making sure that they're staying on pace to graduate in a timely fashion. I don't know if you know this, but nationally, the statistics are not nearly as pleasant in terms of how long it takes to graduate with a 4-year degree. For many, many years, it's been in the 6-year time frame to get through a 4-year degree because of a whole host of factors. We've learned over the years if you provide a lot of touch points, especially with 1st and 2nd year students with advising, I think you can attest that just getting the information that you need early and often, it just make sure that the students actually start heading into the right classes, doing the right things, and they're successful as a result. So we're seeing a great deal of success. We've gone from an average of 4.7 years to get a 4-year degree to now we're at 4.2. So just over 4. And frankly, we're excited about that because the faster you go, the more quickly you can get into the workforce, the more affordable it is. You get the point. It makes a difference if you can get there in a reasonable clip. I don't know if you know this or not, but we have about 84,000 alumni at NKU now, and 82% of them live in this region. That's unique. So I will say it's one of the things that I'm excited about is how can I really harness the power of a very local and regional workforce and alumni base. And so how can they start to become what I call the North Network and really start to support one another. There are lots of great possibilities there, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But what I like to tell employers is this: 82% stay here, work, live, play. That's unique. At UC, I'm an alum from there. I love the place, but I work for NKU. And I will say that it's very different if you compare the two universities and how many stay in their regions. 82% here, 53% there. Okay, so in other words, when you invest in an NKU grad, you're really likely to have them for a lifetime because folks, you know, a lot of folks stay here, right? Just like I have stayed in this region for a long time. So just keep that in mind as you think about who you're hiring, who you're working with for internships, because they are likelier to stay here upon graduation. So I often think of us as having a critical role as being an engine for the social and economic mobility of the region. We should be working with all of you in lots of different ways that are mutually beneficial. We're helping you by making sure that you have the graduates you need, you have support you need, that you have a community you can go to do different things with. And we make sure that we're all aligned at this point. So there's a lot to be excited about at NKU as we speak. Here are some new things that we're excited about at NKU. We listen to our employers. We always try to figure out what is it that you need from us. And in response to that, we keep creating new programs that meet the growing and changing needs of the workforce. Here are some examples. So the fields are sales analytics, supply chain analytics, and I'm sure you're well aware, analytics and big data, data science. These are huge, huge areas. I have a son that's completing his master's degree at University of Michigan next month in analytics. And I'm telling you, he could go in any field with that degree. And so he's excited to see what's coming next. But most of us recognize that with all the swiping we do with loyalty cards and all the Google searches and all the data that exists in this universe of ours, having somebody who can mine it and tell you about what it means and how you should operate your business, it makes a big difference. And at the same time, cybersecurity is awfully important because we want to make sure that our data is secure, and businesses are constantly concerned about those issues now. There's a field called cardiovascular perfusion. It's a new area of expertise that helps with cardiovascular surgery. And then computer science is another one of our newest degrees. So lots and lots of growth and change as we go forward at NKU. One of the programs that we've just started is a new minor, and it's for our veteran and military students. And it gives 21 hours of essentially leadership training experience from their military or veteran status. It gives them credit for that, and that's new. And it shaves off 21 hours from their prior learned experience in the military. As you know, that's a big deal. 120 hours to graduate, 21 hours based upon what they've learned is huge. It gives them definitely a step forward. So we're excited about that. If you don't know Rusty Martis, he's the leader of our veteran resource station. And if you have people like this in your workforce, you'll know what I mean. He's a force, okay? Rusty is no joke. I mean, he is tried and true believer, and people will follow him anywhere. And so when I met him, I was like, we're going to invest in this because people are following Rusty and coming to campus and signing up. So if you haven't met him, and if you have either a veteran or military family member or your own affiliation, know that NKU is working hard to be military ready, not just friendly. So making sure that we really do all that we can for those who have served us. These are some of the most popular programs currently at NKU. I will say that if you look at what's been hot in the nation, STEM plus H, which stands for STEM plus health, those are big fields right now, and they have been for quite a while. If you look here on the left column, these are our undergraduate programs from most popular at the top. Nursing's huge right now. There's a shortage, there's a demand, and the good news is we're cranking out nurses as we speak, both in undergraduate and graduate school. So know that this is one of our biggest areas of growth, which is a good thing. We also are seeing considerable enrollment in psychology and health science and several other areas. As I mentioned before, informatics, if you've heard of us talking about informatics at NKU, it's still a very popular college and field with lots of career opportunities at the end. If you look nationally, business programs are huge, right? For the last 20 years or so, families have asked the question, what can I do with this degree? Business degrees still are very, very popular with students and with their families. So know that at the undergraduate level and at the graduate level, again, like nursing, those are two of our major areas of growth and explosion. In graduate school, I mentioned nursing and business already. We have almost 2,000 masters of science in nursing students right now. That's an enormous number in one program. Just gives you some idea of just how much growth there's been in nursing. And then we almost have 1,000 MBA students. And so those two programs are online. So if you actually ask, how has NKU changed the most in the last few years? We have about 5,000 online students right now out of our almost 16,000 students. That's a huge change from just 5 years ago when there were very, very few students online. So know that those students who are juggling their adult responsibilities, a lot of them are in those programs in particular. Also have a lot of interest in masters in public administration and also in psychology. So just a lot of growth in graduate school and in online in the last few years. That's where we've seen the greatest amount of growth. So some of you may have read the paper or read online about our direct admit programs, just something I wanted to share with you today. We have a way in which we can work with all of the current seniors for next year and onward, where we will say you're directly admitted to NKU if you have a 2.75 or above. And that will allow them to not have to go through the application process or pay the fees, and then they'll quickly go into our system. They'll still have to, for example, qualify for certain programs, like nursing has certain different requirements, but the idea is how can we make it easier for folks to apply to college and to travel that path? I don't know how many of you have been a part of the college going process lately, but oh boy, are there a lot of forms. There's a lot of hoops. A lot of young people don't love to fill out forms. I can tell you this from experience. I have 3 kids. My youngest is 18. I swear to you, he's allergic to forms. So I am thrilled to have this opportunity because it just sort of winnows that front end. It starts to provide clear information and opportunity for our students. And I do always think if we can make things more straightforward, more streamlined, let's do that. Let's make things easier. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean that anyone can come, but it does mean that we make the process easier than it ever has been. Similarly, we have an adult and transfer center that started last year. And here's what I want you to know. It is the similar sort of approach, being easier to travel, easier to come to the university to finish your degree. So as you also know, there are tons and tons and tons of students who drop out or stop out of college for one reason or another. And this program, this center, is really set up to make re-entry into college and completion of college easier to navigate. And I'm really excited about that because frankly, that's a long list of people, not just in the Commonwealth, but frankly in the nation. So if you think about how many people you know who maybe earned a year or 2 or 3, sometimes almost 4, and then life happened, right? Something got complicated and they, for one reason or another, had to stop out or drop out. Oftentimes it's financial. They just hit the wall. They couldn't afford it. And so for us, what we're working hard to do is to help reconnect with them and help work through how can we ascertain what's the right degree for you to complete now? Because, you know, maybe it's been so many years, you need to reevaluate what can be done. We have seen an uptick of 48% for just this spring of transfer students. So in other words, a very friendly, student-centered, easier to navigate system that is just because we have good people who know what they're doing and they're helpful, kind of basic, right? And they're working closely with the different students who are interested in returning. Many of these students who return to us are online learners, not all, but it also helps them to finish while they're juggling. So I know people in my own family who made it all the way through 3 years of school and then they landed a job. The job was great paying and they didn't finish. And we always wish they had finished. These sorts of centers and personnel help them to figure out how can we get you across the finish line? Because it's this wish for a lot of folks, like, oh, I wish I'd finished. So this adult and transfer center really is tailored towards students who stopped out and now just wooing them back and helping them to navigate those last credits that they need to earn for their degree. So I'm excited about it. I think it's really important for people. It also is very tailored to each individual person who comes our way. They're just friendly folks. So just like those adult folks, we also have young folks on our campus earning credit. So I don't know if you've heard about what's called the Young Scholars Academy. We call it YSA for short on campus. Okay, so stay with me. We have students who come to us as juniors in high school, juniors and seniors. They earn all of their credits junior and senior year on our campus at NKU. At the same time, they're earning the same credits as dual enrollment towards college. So in 2 short years at NKU as juniors and seniors in high school, so again, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, they're finishing their high school diploma at the same time earning 2 years toward college, an associate's degree. It's a huge deal. This is a running start for them into their education, a running start into the workforce. I am excited about this program because I will say, again, I've had 3 kids who have had AP credit, dual credit, and I'll say those were great. They were helpful for them. It gave them a little flexibility in their own college experience, but this is different. This really shaves off half of the time to degree completion. And you'll notice the statistics are significant. So 50% of our YSA students, by the way, we have about 300 of them, on campus. So 50% of them are first generation, so the first in their family to earn a degree. 50% are low income students, 15% are underrepresented minorities, and then 50% of the students that we get in this YSA program stay with us and then graduate with their 4-year degree 2 years later. So essentially, it's like being in college, getting a 4-year degree in 2 years. It's a huge deal for these students and their families. We have one family that has triplets. Imagine the relief, right? Triplets. So they're allowing, with just those 3 going through at the same time, think about the tuition savings they're seeing. It's a really big deal. 98% of our YSA students actually are retained in college and graduate. Okay, so we're already seeing real progress. I will say that we work with 9 different school districts in YSA, and one of my challenges right now is to figure out how best to afford this program. It has a number of expenses with it, and right now NKU's been operating the program at a bit of a loss. So I'm trying to work with superintendents to come up with what's the right cost for each of the different partners for YSA and for us. So stay tuned, but I'm really interested in committing to this because it's an access issue. I mean, a lot of students can't go to college because they can't afford it, and this gives them a running start and a chance of affording it and completing it in short order. So I'm excited about that program. Many of you have been to campus. I don't know if all of you have been to campus. It seems like everyone's on our campus for one reason or another in any given week or month. But one thing I love about NKU is it's a welcoming place. It has always been a welcoming place from what I know. Again, I taught there for 14 years, and I just loved my students. I cared about them. I wanted them to be successful. I knew them well. In fact, I still know them. That's been one of the best parts about returning is I taught about 3,500 students, and I swear I've seen 2,000 of them since I've been back. They're phenomenal, and they're just doing a great job in life and work, and I'm just really proud of them. Well, I'm not unique. I mean, there are a lot of people at NKU who are rooting for their students, who want their best, the sort of best outcomes for students. And we really bend over backwards to make sure that students are successful, making sure they have all the resources they need. In addition, we also have great facilities. I don't know if you've been on campus recently, but we've really invested over the years in renovations and equipment that's state of the art. If you mentioned that you're a nurse, your background's in nursing, you should see our simulation center. It's just really an impressive facility. It's grown up quite a bit since I left 13 years ago. I couldn't get over how much campus has really blossomed as a facility. It's a pretty high-tech place now. I don't know if you've been to the College of Informatics building in Griffin Hall. It's impressive. So if you haven't been, come back and visit us. There's a lot to do on campus. There are a lot of things to be a part of. Lastly, as I mentioned, we also meet students where they are in terms of flexible schedules and different modes of learning. One thing I will say is that I am really committed to not just serving the region well, but being a community for the region, being a place where the community comes. So you may not know this, but we have about 14,000 youngsters who come on campus every year for one thing or another. And when I say youngsters, I mean folks who are not in college. So we have summer camps, we have all sorts of science and mathematics programs that help students to get caught up or to learn. We have the School of the Arts that brings people on campus as well for lots of different performances. So we're really already serving a lot of different community needs. But frankly, I'd like to just take the wall down a bit and bring people on campus more. So there are tons of different ways you might be interested in coming on campus and going to a basketball game or to a baseball game. We have some really phenomenal Division I athletes. So we'd love to have you on campus. I don't know if you read the Wall Street Journal article, but it ranked NKU 40th in the nation for return on investment or value. What it really does is it says that of all the different schools that were assessed, that we are affordable and deliver great value or outcomes, measured in a lot of different ways, but affordable tuition combined with this notion of quick access to lucrative careers. They looked at how long does it take for students to pay off their tuition costs. And on average, it takes NKU students 14 months to pay off their tuition costs. That means that our tuition is A, affordable, and B, they're landing jobs that actually help them to get out of that debt quickly. And that is not true for a lot of other institutions, as I'm quite sure that you know. I mean, one of my children went to a private school where the tuition was $44,000 a year, right? That takes a long time to pay for a lot of different folks. Keep in mind that this value rating, 40th in the country, we're the only public school in the Commonwealth, and we're the only public school in the region that made this list in the top 200. Okay, so we are way at the top, way ahead of any of our other competitors in the area. So we're proud of this one. You'll see this again. Yeah, no. We bring out the Wall Street Journal every chance we get. A few other things we're excited about is we just have added 6 new varsity sports, and it's in part to bring new students on campus to really grow enrollment, especially in-person enrollment. So if you've been on campus recently compared to maybe 10 years ago, you'd notice a difference in sort of volume of students in person. When you have 5,000 going online, you feel it, right? And so one of the investments is to have more in-person students. So these are the different sports that we've added for the fall that you'll start to read about and hear about. Men's and women's swimming, we already had the pool. Men's and women's triathlon, we already had different parts of this different sports. Women's stunt, which if you don't know what that is, it's kind of a combination of cheer and gymnastics. It's something in my whole life I could never do. So I'm not as a 6-foot woman, I'm not very coordinated. So, and lastly, men's volleyball, which if you didn't know, is maybe one of the most, it's the hottest sport around. It's a really, really big competitive sport. Lots of people are drawn to it these days. We're taking, with this 6-sport edition, we're going from 250 athletes on our campus to 500 in one day's decision, with much lower infrastructural investment than any of the others. So we're excited about welcoming more and more athletes onto our campus to join us. As you would expect as a new president, I've also been working hard to build off the team that I need to lead NKU well. I've actually just promoted someone named Dr. Diana McGill. Some of you may know her. She has been in this community her whole life. She actually is an alum of NKU. Brilliant. She is brilliant. Biology and chemistry degrees from NKU, went straight to Harvard and earned her PhD in biochemistry. Then she went back to NKU as a faculty member and then a leader. Her last job was the Dean of Arts and Sciences, which is the biggest, most complex college at the university. I've known her for 27 years. She's honorable, she's honest, she's analytical. I'm really happy she's serving as my number 2 or provost. And secondly, Chris Calvert, who just joined us from Cincinnati State. He's our new CFO. So if you know much about Cincinnati State, you know that they've changed over the last few years, and they went from a position of significant financial challenge to a position of real strength. They've had a surplus for the last 5 years. So when I interviewed him, I thought, I know that you have exactly the right skill set to do what we need, and I'm excited about it. Speaking of what we need to make sure that we build a budget that gets us into the black. So I was hired in October, and I think all of you know that NKU found itself about 18 months ago in a significant shortfall, $24 million in the hole. And there are a lot of reasons for that, predominantly COVID related. The world changed, physical campuses didn't have parkers and residents and all these other folks who were spending money on campus. We also eliminated the ACT requirement, which meant that the scholarship distribution went a little wacky, and we ended up spending more for more students to have scholarships on campus. So we overspent, and now we're righting that ship and making sure that we find ourselves in a positive position financially by July. When I started in October, we were $9 million in the hole. Now we're at about $750. And so we're almost there, is my point. And so that's my job, is to make sure that we stick the landing and enter the next fiscal year in good order. I did want to mention, because Senator Schickel mentioned it, that 2025-26, the biennial budgets, thanks to our General Assembly, are looking fantastic. They have invested in education. They've invested in NKU. So we're really grateful for their support. There are a lot of different ways that this budget has shaped up nicely for us. There are a number of ways that their support will really allow us to continue to grow and support our students. So we're really excited about what that budget's looking like. I know it's not over, but it's almost over. And when you know, my first year, that's the year that we have a long legislative session, right? So I literally, in my first week as president, went to Frankfurt. So I'm grateful for their support. It means everything to us as we build our budget. And lastly, I would just say that right now we're working through the final details of what will this next year's budget look like, and things are falling into place nicely. I did want to just quickly share for those of you who work in different businesses that we are going to be reaching out and working better with our community partners. I think I've mentioned this 10 times at this point. Community, region. I'm really focused on how can we be really well connected in ways that are good for you and for us. These are just some of our community partners. We have hundreds of them, but frankly, NKU is a big place and sometimes a place that's difficult to navigate for outsiders. So I often have folks ask me, where's the front door of the university? How can I access your interns? How can I hire your graduates? We're big enough that we're complex and we don't make it as easy as it could be. So I'm working to change that. So what we plan on doing is it's under construction now. We're going to build what we're calling the Norse Network Hub, this idea of making a broad network into the community so that you can come to the center of the hub and say, I'm looking for someone in computer science or in analytics or in education or whatever the field may be. And we'll have a simple system where we can then route the right places, get you the help that you need. And it's not just about hiring and internships. Sometimes it's about outreach. Sometimes it's about research. I mean, there are lots of ways that we partner with the community, but we make it hard because we're so big and people don't know what door to walk through or who to work with. So know that there will be lots of reasons to come to us. We'll make it easier to come to us. And we welcome you to come to us just to see how we might work together as we go forward. So I'm really excited about where the university is headed. I have every confidence that we're going to be in really good shape for many years to come and serving each other well as we do so. So I'd love to take any questions that you have about how we can work together in this region. Any questions, anybody? I think we have 5 minutes. Yeah.
That YSA, that interests me. Now, you said the first 2 years are in high school, junior and senior. Are they taking college courses in high school?
Yep. So it's on our campus, okay, and they're getting dual credit for every course they get. Okay.
Right.
So
but it is college.
That's correct.
College
That's correct.
Courses that are being. Okay.
Yep. So what's different is usually we have several different programs. We have another program that's called school-based scholars, and we have 1,800 who are taking college level dual credit classes in their high schools, but usually one class at a time. This is 60 hours of college that they are earning while they're completing their high school degree. So it is.
So they're going to be
phenomenal.
out at 20 years of age.
Correct.
With a degree.
Yeah.
Dennis, I got a friend that their son went through it.
Yeah.
Their senior year in high school, they had 60 credit hours already.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible to think that that program works like that.
You brought up one of the challenges of it, so obviously the school money doesn't follow the kid to Northern, so.
So only a certain amount does at this point. So it's a $93 a credit hour, which is about a fourth of what we typically charge for college. So that's charged for school-based scholars as well as for Young Scholars Academy.
Okay.
And what we've been talking about with the state is, does it make sense to not have more of the state funding for education follow each of the different students? And we want to make sure that it's equitable across school districts so that whether your school, or whether you're a student at one school or another, that the costs are the same for the student or for the family, right? So right now it has been a little uneven.
So do they
when
qualify?
my son went through it,
Yeah.
it was the latter one you talked about,
Yep.
the bigger one.
Yep.
And we just paid like $100
Yep.
for a course that was $300 something.
Yeah.
But 50% of your people are in lower income.
Yep.
And the per pupil per day student money from the county does
Yep.
not follow.
Right.
So I'm still missing out on the math on.
Yeah. So YSA, actually the school districts, so 7 of our 9 school districts have been paying.
They're allowed the money to have the money go to the school?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's
All
actually
right.
how Ohio and Michigan work as well.
Okay,
Yeah, so we've been a little unusual in that it hasn't worked that way here.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So they don't qualify for financial aid.
In high school?
In high school.
Correct.
Is there something that you're thinking of for kids that can? I have a young lady who's a senior and she's working 2 jobs to pay for her dual credit because her mom is a single mom and can't afford it and she's undocumented.
Yep.
Is there anything on the horizon that might help alleviate that cost for the students?
Yeah. So good question. The quick answer is yes, we have lots of different ideas. The bottom line is we have to realize those ideas.
Okay.
So there are a few different buckets of money that the state we'll be making available, I believe. There's even some, you mentioned undocumented, there's some humanitarian scholarship funding that might apply there. So I'm happy to connect you and that person.
Yes.
There's also this notion of if we make it equitable across the different school districts, the same proportion or amount or rate, then it's the school paying us and not the student, right? Now, I think if you're talking about school-based scholars, that's different because that's paid for on a course-by-course basis. So all these things are really different, and AP, advanced placement, is a very different altogether. So like my kids did AP in Wyoming, Ohio, where they graduated, and you pay for the class, you pay for the test. I mean, it's expensive. So this is much better. Now I'm hoping to get businesses to support us so that if we have scholarship needs or we have to do something, because right now we run the program at a deficit, and obviously being in a deficit, that's not good. So we're working hard just to make sure we're getting past any sense of structural deficit at the university. And I do think if you're thinking about how do you build your workforce and how do you get more people into the roles that you need sooner, what I didn't mention is YSA also has tracks that are very specific towards fields. So for example, there's an IT track, there's an education track. There are others that are very closely aligned, like a construction management track is another example. And we've aligned them with areas that have shortages right now, because then we can get our graduates there faster, right? So anything else? I think we're almost off track. Yep.
I'm going to ask, and this is on the same track there. Has there been any discussion, since these are dual credit classes, about allowing keys money to be used by these juniors and seniors towards the college classes?
My understanding, no, but I haven't asked the explicit question. I know that you can use keys money then, of course, in your third and fourth year if you stay at NKU.
But it's supposed to be good for 4 years. So if they're getting 2 years of college already, and they're really not getting the keys that they have been promised.
Yeah, let me ask that question, because I'll be honest with you, I've never asked that question, and I've never been asked that question, so good job. I actually appreciate that when I go out and I learn, what else do I need to ask, right? Great question. So, anything else?
Hey, real quick, can you talk about your upcoming inauguration?
Yeah, so on April 26th, we'll have a whole lot of fanfare at 2 p.m. It's a Friday, and you're certainly welcome to join us. There will be my investiture, which means I'm the 7th president of NKU, and lots of pomp and circumstance and celebration with students and faculty and staff and community members. So if you just want a feel-good moment, it's about an hour or so at Truist Arena. There's room for you, 9,000 seats, right? So truth be told, it'll just be a really great day to celebrate NKU, the region, and where we're headed together. So yeah. Thanks for having me. It's good to be with all of you. Great. I know, I do appreciate the Northwood.
Yeah, we want to get a picture.
So just a quick reminder, we don't have a meeting next week. It's spring break for Boone County Schools. The following week is Sophie Duck. Is that how you say it? And she's going to talk about the power of dance. So thank you, everybody. Have a good week.
All right.
Looking into that cardiovascular illusion.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.